Hi and welcome to another video. Now today's video, it's been a long time since I've posted anything on the channel, and that's what the video is about in a way, and hopefully this video can help you if you are training and you are getting to a point where you're getting near a race and life goes a bit pear-shaped and you're thinking, how can I get the best from my race? So from a running perspective, that's what this video will hopefully help, because I just don't want to do something just that's purely self-indulgent for me. The reason I haven't posted much was I'd literally just created a video, I think it was something along 5 weeks to go to my marathon, outlining things like that. I was really pleased with it actually. And then life went pear-shaped. My mum went into hospital with, we don't know quite yet what with, but kind of dementia-led situation probably. We don't know yet. Having kind of psychotic episodes, this sort of stuff. My dad had limited mobility, so my dad was at home. Subsequently, in that time, while my mum was in hospital, my dad, after I'd visited him one day to check everything was okay before I went home for the end of the evening, my dad weirdly decided to get up on a stool and try and close the blinds in our kitchen. Sadly fell, broke ribs, punctured his lung, and just over a week after that, sadly passed away. And my mum was and still is in hospital, so life's been completely loopy. And running, understandably, takes a back seat. And it did, and I didn't have a problem with that. You know, you've got to prioritise, I believe, in life, and, you know, running was not my priority at that moment. But I've got the Chester Marathon at the end of beginning of October on the 2nd, and I'd been invited to go out and run the Copenhagen Marathon with my godson. My godson lives out in Copenhagen, and so we'd all decided, his mum and dad, my wife and myself, we all decided to go out to Copenhagen about 4 months ago to run a half marathon, but to see a fantastic city, which it is. I'd fully encourage you to go to Copenhagen. It's a beautiful city with some lovely people in it as well. So on the running perspective, I got there and I didn't really feel like running. Running was the least from my mind. I'd done some running training, but I hadn't really felt like it. My body, it's interesting how stress can impact and impinge on the body. My legs felt like lead, felt like I'd been overtraining, if anything, and I'd been undertraining. I'd hardly done anything at all. So it was like a case of get out there. We got there on the Saturday, had some fun, had seen around the city, and woke up on the Sunday morning on the event. Beautiful day, perfect conditions. Luckily, my godson and his girlfriend obviously know the city really well. Completely seamless and stress-free travel to the start of the Copenhagen half marathon. Started doing my warm-up and I just thought, oh my God, you know, one, I don't feel like doing this. Two, I don't think I've ever done a warm-up and felt that bad, minus being injured. I mean, I wasn't injured, but just everything seemed wrong. And obviously, understandably, in quite an emotional state. So my point for people watching this video, where it might help you, is I went through my warm-up, So cheerio to my godson. My godson's a really good runner. I mean, to give you a bit of an outline, he ended up doing 120 something in the half marathon and he hadn't even trained. The thing of youth, eh? He's like, oh, I don't know, I have to take it easy. It's like, but he's a good runner. But to be able to run like that and not train, that is that's something else that you've got to envy as you get older, haven't you? And I was standing at the start line and I was thinking about how I could best navigate through this run. And then I remembered, I thought, something I always say to my runners, which is process over outcome. Get into process. Now, normally on a race, I would say to a runner, it is an outcome. You've got an outcome, you've got a goal, you've got whatever. But definitely in training, and very much process over outcome. Don't worry about the outcome too much. Just get into the process. But I felt a couple of months before, I would have been confident of going sub 130, 120, under 125 maybe on a good day. And this was a good day. But there was no way, I don't know about physically, but mentally I could trust myself to even attempt to run that fast. So I thought, I'm going to trust the process. And what I've done is I'd set my watch up, and this was just a mental game for me to play. I'd set it up with 2 reps, a rest and run rep. Now, obviously, the rest rep wasn't really a rest, but what it was I gave myself a pace that I could slow down to on my rest rep. So, for example, on my run rep, it was 6.5 minute miles, or I could go a tiny bit quicker if I wanted to, or felt I could on that mile. When it hit the rest rep, it was about 7:15. Yet again, if I wanted to go a bit quicker, I could. But the whole point was I actually felt myself relax, slow down a bit. And what it did, it gave me a focus throughout the run. Plus, it got me into process. I wasn't always like, I've got a sub 130 or what. I was just in the process each mile, doing that as I went along. And I'll put some stats up off the top of my head. I think I hit just over 21 minutes for 5K, which was pretty fast. I mean, give you an idea, my PB is about 19.5 minutes for a 5K, which was set this year. But so it was pretty fast. And then I think about 43 minutes for 10K. And I knew that I'd be there or thereabouts if I hit the halfway mark around 45, which I did. I think at 45, and I might have been a couple of seconds. But even then, rightly or wrongly, and some of you watching this may say wrongly, I wasn't chasing sub 130. We're runners. There's that little bit in your brain, normally a big bit, that's saying that. But I really did keep into just the process. Each mile, rest, run, rest, run, rest, run, rest, run. I hit some hard points in about 8 or 9 miles and took the rests, really did take the rests. But I ended up running 1:31 and 11 seconds, which I got so much into the process and the run up of it that it wasn't until I checked back at the hotel that I'd actually PB'd by 6 seconds. Could I go on sub 30? Maybe. But 1:30, but for me on this run, one, it was about getting round. I really had set myself in my head it could be like 140, 145. That's how I felt at the start. That's where I was at the start. Now, I'm not knocking 140, 145. What I'm saying is, the way I felt, that's how I'd probably end up running it. To get it, just get into the process meant that I ended up running 131 and 11 seconds. It's always easy after an event to go, oh, well, if I'd have run a bit quicker. But if you run a bit quicker, the irony with running is you might not even got the 131. So you have to be sort of accepting of where you're at. To be honest, I was thrilled with that. I was thrilled because it put a positive spin on what's been a pretty rubbish 4 or 5 weeks. I've got my dad's funeral, depending on when you're watching this, but my dad's funeral will be at the end of September 2022. And it's put a bit of small light into a lot of dark. Moving forward to Chester Marathon, I said to my wife, I actually don't want to do Chester. I don't feel that I've got the mental bandwidth for it. And any of you that run marathons will know what I mean by that. Does that mean I'm not going to do it? No, I think, unless, because of my mum being still in hospital, unless there's a family emergency or I'm injured or anything like that, I think I will run it. But I think I will do a similar thing to what I did in the half marathon. I will just get into process. My original goal, if some of you are watching some of the earlier videos, was 3:15, 3:20. I'm not going to be in my headspace for that. Of course I'm a runner. There'll be that little bit in there, but I'm not going to build myself or put myself under that pressure as we stand at the moment. If I can beat my PB, which is I think 3:24, be great. If I don't, I'm not going to get bent out of shape over it. Because to finish the video, I think as a coach, if I was coaching somebody else in this situation, we don't live in isolation. We don't live in a vacuum. None of us are professional runners, from what I can make out from the people who watch these videos. We're going to have challenges outside of running. And a training block, particularly a marathon training block, is a massive, massive block of time. It's 12 to 18 weeks of your life. And most people won't experience nothing happening in their lives. There's always going to be something. Sometimes it's smaller things, little niggles, little injuries, or perhaps you have to take a week off because you're going away on holiday or whatever it is. But every now and again you get something so big that really it negates running in the first place. You think, well, I love running, but this actually needs all my attention, or pretty much all of it. And I was saying to a runner this morning who was getting very stressed out about his running because he's got other stuff going on. Said you just sometimes got to accept that you can't bend reality. It's great to have a can-do attitude, but there's certain realities and certain priorities that you have to deal with, and sometimes those priorities mean that running has to take a back seat if you're not a professional runner. And you have to be kind to yourself to do that, and just adapt the best you can in those circumstances. If it means not running something at all, fine. Then you haven't lost that training block. You can build on that training block. I often say to runners, most runners overestimate what they can do in one training block and completely underestimate what they can do in 2 to 3 training blocks. So we get used to, understandably, having a training block with a run or a race at the end of it. But you can have a training block with no race or run at the end of it. And if reality means that's what it is, it's only wasted if you decide it's wasted. If you then continue some sort of training, put another goal in front somewhere else, and that training block is not wasted. And also, to finish the video, when you look beyond running, your mental well-being, your health, your fitness, a training block's never wasted. In that respect, you're going to be probably mentally stronger. I know that my running has helped me be mentally stronger in this period of time with the loss of my dad and dealing with my mum's situation. It's made me physically fit. There was situations where I was up 24, 29 hours. I'm 58, nearly 59 years old. I don't think if I wasn't physically fit that I could have coped as well as running my business. The mental side. So it's never wasted in that respect. You just got to kind of think wider in that respect. So hopefully out of something that is non-running related, that you get something from this. I hope you do. It's just I wanted to share a video because I haven't done for a while for reasons mentioned, but at the same time I didn't have anything really running related at the moment. So I hope you find this really useful. Bye for now.